The main storyline of the 2024 season has been who can catch Gresham Wagner, but thanks to a penalty served after qualifying today, the script is flipped, and it now becomes a question of who can Gresham Wagner catch. That's right, your reigning championship points leader, your undefeated driver will be starting at the back of the field here today, leading Spike Colbecker to be in pole position. DJ Clark up here in the commentary booth alongside Kyle Heyer. And Kyle, this penalty really and truly changes everything.
Gresham Wagner has been undefeated. He's won all 5 races so far in 2024 in Toyota GR Cup North America. This is, of course, the 6th race of the year here at COTA. The penalty was for a out-of-compliance rear camber value post-qualifying. So Gresham, while he was on the pole at the end of qualifying, he's going to be starting at the tail of the field. It is a warm morning here at Austin, Texas, as it was yesterday, DJ. We saw a lot of slipping and sliding around here on this 3.5-mile and 20-turn circuit. It is a blast to watch this 30-car field take on this great racetrack.
Yeah, no better view than up at the top of the observation tower. And you can tell just how hot it is by the drivers. They're keeping those doors open as long as possible to get a little bit of cool air coming on into the car. That's Weston Workman right there, one of the drivers that we're going to have circled here is potentially able to steal a win away, as well as the likes of Jackson Bell, Spike Colbecker, and to me, the big story coming out of qualifying, Devin Anderson finally putting the pieces together and giving Tech Sport Racing 2 cars up in the top 5.
Yeah, Tech Sport Racing had a phenomenal qualifying effort there. Spike Colbecker, as you pointed out, is promoted to pole position with that penalty for Gresham Wagner. Devin Anderson is going to start outside row 2 in the 22 Tech Sport Racing car. Devin's got a lot of experience in this chassis. It's relatively new to this championship, but I do think that having a couple of Tech Sport teammates up there should be a lot of fun to watch. Of course, a handful of BSI Racing cars up in the top 10 as well with Stephen Clemens and Jordan Rick Segrini. But the question becomes, how exciting is this race going to be when Gresham Wagner has to fight from the back of the field? It's anyone's race here at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting as engines fire off here down on pit lane and we look at the 30-car grid. Colbecker and Jackson Bell start to work their way on out here at this point. And I think it's not a matter of if Gresham Wagner is able to pass a few cars and get themselves into a points-paying position. It's a matter of when Gresham is able to do it.
How long will it take him?
Exactly.
Which I imagine the first 20 are going to come pretty easy, but then it gets harder and harder the farther you drive up through the field. He will be a fun one to watch, poking holes in as many places as he can. But even in a 45-minute race, it's still, you know, a fairly short race. It's still considered a sprint. So how much time will it take for him to get up to that top 10? And could he still potentially get up there and win this race if we were to get a safety car like we did yesterday?
You read my mind about that. If we get a safety car like we did yesterday, that is only going to aid in Wagner's attempt to get back into the best positions as possible. But we will have to see. We'll keep our eyes focused on him, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that we've also going to have to keep our eyes focused at the front of this field because that battle is going to be fast and it is going to be furious up near the front here at this point. Drivers working their way through the S's as we run through the starting grid. As we said, Spike Colbecker alongside Jackson Bell in row 1. Then it's Weston Workman and Devin Anderson. Tech Sport and Copeland Motorsports locking out the front rows. Jordan Rick Segrini, another great qualifying performance for him. And then Lucas Weisenberg in P6 to the outside of row 3. Inside of rows 4 will be Adam Brickley, and then it's Jade Abadizian, Stephen Clemens, and Austin Dodge round out your top 10.
And starting in 11th place, it's Braden Arthur after a crash yesterday. We'll start in row 6 alongside Alex Garcia, who just came off of a win in the TC America Series. Mia Lovell is going to start 13th in the 57 car. Max Hewitt 14th in the 39. Livio Galanti had a nice run yesterday, hampered by some issues at the tail end of the race. Luke Rumberg starts 16th in the 31. Aiden Yoder on 5-place grid penalty for contact yesterday. Starts 17th alongside Matty Oust. Then it's William Lambros and Henry Drury 19th and 20th.
Mashore Auto Bodies, Casey Mashore lines up 21st, followed by newcomer Miki Onaga in 22nd position. 23rd will be Aiden Kirk, and it's Alfonso Diaz to the outside of row number 12. Moving back into row 13, it's Andrew Gilliland and Jason Coase, and Andrew Gilliland, 25th and 26th. Then James Klimas and Ramon Llanos there in the 28th position. And as we've talked about already, Gresham Wagner, 29th on the field, tail end Charlie. He's going to have a lot of work to do.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch Gresham Wagner, and Would like to wish a happy birthday to our safety car driver, Mike Stillwagon. Another lap around the sun and another lap around Circuit of the Americas, leading our field to the green flag here in just a moment. When that car pulls off, he'll head down to pit lane and leave the field in the hands of Spike Kohlbecker and Jackson Bell, neither of which have gone to victory lane yet this season, and neither have 28 other drivers on the field, because Gresham Wagner has been cashing in the riches so far this season with all those cash prizes, but he will have a lot of work to do if he wants to cash a check at the end of Sunday.
Yeah, he certainly will, but if anybody can do it, it's Gresham Wagner here at this point. Coming down through the carousel right now of 14, 15, or 16, 17, and 18 rather. Bring their way into turn 19 right now. Kohlbecker in that red, white, and blue car down to the inside. That's the orange, white, and blue of Jackson Bell to his outside. Start zone will be a little bit farther down the straightaway. You've got to keep in those two perfect columns until you see that green flag displayed. Here we go. Spike Kohlbecker works his way onto the front straightaway and working their way towards that VP acceleration zone. Couple of stragglers in the back of the field here waiting to get gridded up as they enter into the VP acceleration zone, and there goes the green. We are racing here in Circuit of the Americas. It's a good, clean getaway from the front of the field. Jackson Bell starting to challenge around the outside of Spike Kohlbecker, looking, but Kohlbecker's going to be able to hold it off. A little bit of contact farther back through the field. Ooh. A car up into the air there, but it looks like everybody's together. One car way out onto the gravel of the outside of one.
Yeah, one car got pretty much sent airborne for a moment. It did land all four tires back on the ground. Didn't catch what car that was, as Gresham Wagner's already a couple spots up. I think he waited at the back of the field there. It kind of left everyone a bit of a gap so he could close in after the chaos had happened at turn one. Now single filing, or trying to. Does a little side-by-side deeper in the field, and a huge slide by Gresham Wagner, trying to go the long way around in turn 5.
Jade Avedisian having a good start here at this point, trying to work her way on Lucas Weisenberg right now. Jackson Bell continuing to put pressure on your leader as there they go single file. Well, I say that until we see Casey Bashore. A little bit of contact there. That was one of the Precision Racing LA cars that we saw getting into a little bit of it. Defensive move from Spike Kohlbecker coming down to the inside of turn 11. A little bit of big moves there from behind as we've got drivers still continuing to work their way ahead, and it looks like Jade Avedisian spied an opportunity on Lucas Weisenberg and took it down to the inside of 11.
Yeah, with all this opportunity up front to mix things up, we'll see if Spike Kohlbecker can hold back the rest of the Copeland Motorsports drivers. Jackson Bell, a handful of podiums this season. Weston Workman has probably been the closest of anybody to getting a victory here, and they're side by side for the lead down the back straightaway and for third place behind with Weston Workman and Devin Anderson.
It's going to be Bell not able to get the move done, but he's going to look to the inside here at this point. Tries to be able to now get the crossover through the outside, down into turn 13. Goes Jackson Bell side by side through the rest of the field, almost three wide coming into the right-hander as everybody tries to fan themselves out. Bell still sticking around the outside of Spike Kohlbecker. He's going to try to make this work down into turn 15. He's going to be fed out onto the track a little bit, but this is going to be preferred line for the young Californian coming down into the carousel.
Door to door, and it's Jackson Bell that pulls ahead of Spike Kohlbecker. He's going to tuck back in behind. Will that driver of the 55, Weston Workman, right behind there. Not even a slice of paper could fit between those front two cars. Big wiggle there by Jackson Bell as he turns into turn 19.
He's going to run a little bit wider than Kohlbecker. Now it looks like Workman's thinking on the back of the Tech Sport Racing driver. They're going to fan out. Kohlbecker down to the inside going into turn 20, and that's going to be side by side. Bell runs out wide. Here comes Weston Workman as well. They're going to be almost Noah's Ark as they come across the start-finish line. Bell was able to carry the momentum and immediately goes defensive up Big Red.
Yeah, lots of big defensive moves to the inside. You just have to do it before the car behind you pulls out of line, because that would be considered a block. All fair play up here at the front. Kohlbecker trying the long way around at turn 1. Weston Workman and Jordan Rick Segrini up into 5th place past the 22 of Devin Anderson. He's up in the mix now in the BSI racing car.
Yeah, Rick Segrini having a great race in the early goes, as we do see that the start of the race is under review from race control. We'll keep you abreast of that as things go along. Jackson Bell piloting his way through the S's right now. A little bit of a wiggle there through the first part, but able to keep things together as they run. It looks like about the first 10 or so drivers, big cloud of dust kicked up there as they came through the S's.
Yeah, Jade Avedisian's having a great start to this race as well, right there in the Mobil 1 car chasing Devin Anderson up the hill. That's a Nitro Motorsports entry. Lucas Weisenberg's right there, 15-year-old Adam Brickley, Stephen Clemens, Braden Arthur, and more. And the 5 car, by the way, quick update on Gresham Wagner, 17th place after just 1 lap of racing.
Here comes a move from Devin Anderson on Jordan Rick-Sagrini down into turn 11. Anderson looks to the inside. Rick-Sagrini already with a donut on the outside of that number 18. Going to go into a drag race here down the back straightaway.
Olivia Galante went for a ride at the exit of turn 11, taking that car all the way over the yellow curbs on corner exit, and now up this 0.6 of a mile long straightaway, getting to speeds north of 135 miles an hour with this 230 horsepower Boxer 4-cylinder engine. Add the slipstream to that as well. Yeah, about 135 into the braking zones. Leaning on the Bosch ABS. Look at Jade Avedizian past Anderson, and is that Jordan Rick-Sagrini she's gone by? A little wide there pushed for Devin Anderson.
No, that's, I believe, Lucas Weisenberg that she was able to go by. There's 2 wide farther back in the field here at this point. That's the 75 leading the way of Miki Onaga, as we mentioned, one of the newcomers here into the series, and it looks like that's going to be Austin Dodge trying to fight his way through as well.
And Avedizian did get by Rick-Sagrini. She's up to P5 now through turn 12, so she's on a mission there, as Weisenberg is still behind the 22. So Rick-Sagrini's dropped a position. The 22 and 46 flanking that 22 Tech Sport racing car. Jade's having a phenomenal race up there now. Chasing next will be, I think, Weston Workman. She might be 4th.
She could be looking at a podium here before everything is said and done. As you said, Devin Anderson falling back through the field there. That's another one of the female drivers in the series, the number 76 there. The 76, excuse me, Stephen Clements, Matty Oust a little bit farther back. They've got very similar liveried cars. A little bit of a breakaway up at the front of the field here for Jackson Bell and Spike Kohlbecker. Weston Workman going defensive as Jade Avedizian wants that podium and looks to the outside.
Yeah, something is clicking with the 24 and Jade Avedizian. A little contact there with Weston Workman at the exit of turn 1. She's got the elbows out as well. That's great to see as she pulls everybody into turn number 2. This is getting very, very dicey here as the fists go flying through turn 2.
And it looked like Jade Avedizian's nose was a little bit crumpled up as a result of that contact. That shouldn't have too much of a problem on the car, should it, Kyle?
Just a flesh wound.
Okay, good.
Here comes Jordan Rick-Sagrini, though, to poke a hole in the defense there of Jade Avedizian. Side by side through the S's here is a challenging prospect, and Jordan's going to have to bail out, try it again somewhere else, like the uphill right-hander turn 8. And Lucas Weisenberg, Stephen Clemens, Adam Brickley, we pointed out there, and Austin Dodge returning to this championship in the RBA Graphics Motorsports by Speed Syndicate number 11.
Yeah, Dodge having a good race here at this point. We've got to keep our eyes focused on that battle for 4th right now because Rick-Sagrini thought about popping out a line, didn't decide to go for it. That's Gresham Wagner, excuse me, making a big move down to the inside of the number 14 of Alex Garcia. Gets it done, and that is going to move Wagner all the way up into the top 15.
Yeah, 13th place for the number 5. He continues to drive forward very, very quickly. The question is, can Jackson Bell, Kohlbecker, and Workman get enough of an advantage that they can hold back Gresham Wagner? As here's a bit of a battle. Adam Brickley looking out to the driver's left there of the 11. Late on the brakes here into turn 12. Passing opportunity. It's tight down here. Spark of flame out the tailpipes of the 5 cars. He navigates this battle with Braden Arthur and others.
Yeah, Braden Arthur splitting the difference in between the 2 Copeland Motorsports teammates of Mia Lovell and Gresham Wagner. Little bit of almost contact. Gresham gets a good run there coming down into turn 14 and 15. He's going to slip to the inside of Arthur, and easy as you please, Gresham gets that done. That is some fantastic racecraft from the Copeland Motorsports driver.
Yeah, still side by side there with Brickley and Austin Dodge through the carousel. It's tough to maintain position to driver's left here as you're out kind of in the marbles off of the kind of grooved in racing line here, but they're still door to door into turn 19. Brickley in that 51 car for Copeland Motorsports. He is through, then 11 cars wide, and now we should see Wagner have a launch at his teammate here, Mia Lovell, but there is some patience being displayed by Gresham Wagner here.
Yeah, that side-by-side with Austin Dodge, I think, also helped it there a little bit, just preventing that run, and now I think he's got to watch out a little bit as there's going to be an attack coming from behind, as there we see Stephen Clements making a move on Lucas Weisenberg. Weisenberg going the wrong way here early on in this race.
Doesn't seem like that car is going quite the right direction that we would typically see. In the background, Gresham Wagner up the inside of Mia Lovell, and wow, Braden Arthur took a big cloud of curb there at the apex of turn 1. They're still side by side down through turn 2. Dodge trying to squeeze his number 11 to the inside of Wagner. That didn't work. He's going back 1, 2, 3 spots into the S's this time through.
Stephen Clements, Jordan Rick-Sagrini, Lucas Weisenberg all over each other here coming through the S's at this point. They're going to try to get themselves sorted, and they indeed do. That was a very, very heads-up play from Gresham Wagner that we saw. Quick change of direction before they moved through the left-hander as the number 18 of Rick-Sagrini tries to be able to look ahead. not sure where that's going to lead here at this point. Is Stephen Clements hoping to be able to gain a little bit of an advantage, but Clements and Weisenberg taking a big rut through the dirt.
Yeah, dropping some Continentals in the dirt at the top of turn 10, and now down towards their best passing opportunity on the racetrack here. Looks like the Tornado has spooled down for a moment as some BSI teammates line up there between Clemens and Jordan Rick-Segrini, but maybe a little side-by-side if they can use that slipstream to their advantage. But all the while, way up that back straightaway and the big climb, you've got Jackson Bell leads Kohlbecker by 0.8 of a second. Workman's right behind that 55. Jade Avedizian hangs on to fourth for now the Nitro Motorsports car.
Yeah, she's doing a good job just holding into position here at this point, probably waiting to see if a battle's going to take place. Here we've got a little bit of side-by-side for second, though, as Kohlbecker tries to make a move on Weston Workman, or the other way around, rather. Workman trying to make the move on Spike Kohlbecker. He's maybe going to have it down in turn 13.
Yeah, so Weston Workman, he has been denied victory a couple of times by teammate Gresham Wagner. Now he's got teammate Jackson Bell ahead, so he's dispatched the Tech Sport Racing 55. And should mention that the strength for Tech Sport Racing is coming at the right time. They're heading to their home event next time out at Virginia International Raceway. It's where Tech Sport Racing is based. I think they have a great chance of taking the successes they found in qualifying here at COTA and applying it there. But still podiums on the horizon potentially for that 55 and maybe the 22 with all the action we see at the bottom part of the top 5.
Kohlbecker's not done yet with this battle. He's going to take a little bit of a peek into turn 20. That's not going to play out. Little bit of a squirrel under the brakes into the final corner on the track, and he's going to follow closely in the tire tracks of Weston Workman. Workman stays driver's right as Kohlbecker brings the car out, going to try to sneak out a little bit, maybe just try to get into the head. By the way, to the surprise of no one, Gresham Wagner has the fastest lap of the race at 2:29 flat.
He's up to 9th place now and continues his hunt. I think he's right behind Lucas Weisenberg into turn 1. But this is the battle we're watching for second place, Weston Workman and Spike Kohlbecker. Now, I wonder if Spike can just tuck in behind the 13. Spike is a smart driver. He knows how quick that 13 is. Knows that Weston Workman was one of the fastest cars on the track yesterday, quicker even than Jackson Bell. So maybe there's some strategy here in following the 13, learning a thing or two, and chasing Weston all the way up to the tailpipes of Jackson Bell.
It's not the craziest thing in the world, Kyle, and let's also remember the fact that these drivers need to be thinking about who's in 9th place right now. If they continue to fight and scrap and don't build a gap on the rest of the field, Gresham Wagner is going to be able to leapfrog his way forward.
Yeah, cars climbing up the hill towards turn 8, 9, and back down towards turn 11. Devin Anderson battling inside the top 5 there. Stephen Clemens in 6th place as they continue to work their way down towards the hairpin at this stage of the race. Settling in after 12 minutes elapsed here, 33 minutes to go. And there is a lot of racing still left to do, but it's a 1.5 second advantage for Jackson Bell. Braden Arthur has some pressure in the form of Gresham Wagner in that number 5.
Yeah, Wagner kicks up a little bit of dirt on the exit there of the corner. Now they're going to fly their way down this back straightaway, waiting to see if he's going to be able to poke out of line and get a run. I think he may be able to do that before the straightaway's even done, as Wagner's speed is just that apparent. As a little bit of a defensive move farther back in the field, that's going to be Weisenberg trying to hold off Brickley. Here comes the move from Wagner down to the inside of Braden Arthur. He's got it.
Yeah, I wonder if Wagner had dropped back. He was scored ahead of Braden Arthur and Mia Lovell at the beginning of the lap. I wonder if he had gotten shuffled back or made a mistake. A bit of a knock in the progress of his run so far, but continues to work over his teammates here a little bit deeper in the field than we would typically see them as they now navigate the carousel up at the front. Bell 1.4 seconds ahead of Workman, then Kohlbecker, Avedizian, Anderson, Clemens, Rick-Segrini, Weisenberg, Wagner, and Brickley, the rest of your top 10. There's that 5. Again, had a penalty for an out-of-compliance camber adjustment after qualifying where he went fastest of everybody. And I talked to him before the race, and he's had a really good season so far. I know he'd love to keep winning every single race, but he was excited about the proposition of getting to really slice and dice his way through this field.
Jackson Bell setting the fastest lap of the race from the top position here at this point with a 2:28.608 and a track limits warning issued to car number 13. That's Weston Workman. He's going to have to be a little bit careful of that here at this point.
Up into turn 1 now, climbing that hill. Everyone's single filed out now. This is kind of the stage of the race where you're planning your chess moves a bit for the rest of the race. As we work our way now into the second third of this event, you have to consider, with the different forces up at the front, some are the same with between Bell, Workman, and Kohlbecker, but Jade Avedizian in the mix as well. But some penalties, DJ, for start violations.
Yeah, that's going to go to Matty Oust, Luke Rumberg, Miki Onaga, and Andrew Gilliland. We talked about those 2 columns that you have to keep before the green flag flies. Until you cross over that start-finish line, until you see the green, you must stay in those columns, and those 4 drivers clearly running afoul of it. They will have to serve a drive-through penalty.
All the while at the front of the field, it has been 4 drivers that have separated themselves from the rest of the field, and Weston Workman has begun to dispatch Spike Kohlbecker and is trying to separate the Gazelle from the rest of the herd, and Jackson Bell is that Gazelle at the front of the field right now. He is all by himself, and while he is running very quick laps, and in fact just ran the fastest lap of the race, we have seen Workman get progressively quicker throughout the race as we saw yesterday.
Yes, we have, and I think now that Workman's got a little bit of free air, he's going to be able to do that. But what's really intriguing me here, Kyle, is this battle for 3rd place. Nitro Motorsports' Jade Avedizian closing down on Spike Kohlbecker. This is going to be a battle, and I love what I'm seeing out of Jade. We've also got another teammate battle here that we see on our screen right now. That's Mia Lovell and Gresham Wagner. And you're going to race your teammate a little bit differently than you would race other drivers. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's more trust in some cases. There's absolutely more fights involved, especially when things get pretty spicy. Their teammates generally race each other harder at times, but they have additional trust as well. But Gresham's progress has slowed just a bit, but with all those drive-through penalties, pit lane is about to be a pretty busy place with cars serving those penalties, DJ.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit busy, but Bell has been able to work out a 1.5 second gap over Workman. There you can see it coming through. Kohlbecker, I've got to give him credit. I thought he was going to slip away a little bit more and fall back, but he is keeping close to the back here of Weston Workman. And just worth noting, we talked about that gap increasing for Jackson Bell. Yet another fastest lap of the race, a 2:28.589.
Yeah, but isn't this what we saw yesterday, but with the 5 car out front? But let's have a quick look here at a replay of the start because of all those penalties, all the cars that were out of line. It was the 31, the 09, the 75, and 86. The 86 is one of the cars at the back there, and the 09 is as well, and the green flag is waving, but you have to wait to see all the cars moving now. You can't do it until you've gone past the start line. So you saw some contact there as well. I think that was Matty Austin, the 09.
That was Matty specifically in the middle of the track there at that point, and then you saw, I believe that was Luke Rumberg that went out as well, and he was the one that came to driver's right.
Yep.
So those were the 2 that were most visible.
Yeah, so when the green flag flies, you're racing, but you can't initiate passes or leave your column until you cross the start line. Now, the reason why that could trip up drivers a lot here is because Circuit of the Americas is unique in that the start line is different from the control line where you finish the race and where your lap times are from. So some drivers might go, okay, I passed the control line, I'm good to go. You are not until you cross that gantry where the standing start lights are and where that green flag is being waved from.
And Kyle, we may have gotten an answer to what happened to Gresham Wagner. We said that he had fallen down a little bit farther than we thought. We believed he was past Braden Arthur. Well, race control is giving a review right now to an issue between cars 5 and 18. That's Wagner and Rick Segrini. Rick Segrini's down in 24th right now, and we knew Wagner dropped a couple of positions as we see Gresham making the move down to the inside of his teammate Mia Lovell. So I think we've got our answer as to what happened.
Yeah, that happened kind of in the background. We didn't catch it live, but noticing now that the 24 drops down, it seems to make a lot of sense. The question I have is I'm wondering how they came together because the 5 doesn't seem to have any damage, but he did drop 3 or 4 spots. So potentially it was just a spin, but I can't imagine there could have been too hard a contact. Otherwise, we'd see more signs of issues with that 5 car.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that as well, but we'll try to get to the bottom of that. Meanwhile, we watch the battle for P2 right now as Weston Workman has got a mirror full of Spike Kohlbecker, the Tech Sport Racing driver, pushing ahead, diving down onto the brakes into turn 20 as they work their way around. 15 minutes down in this race, there or thereabouts, about 27.5 minutes still left to play.
Yeah, Jackson Bell is just lighting the afterburners on his number 99 Copeland Motorsports car, isn't he? Last time by, a 2:28.766. That was half a second faster than teammate Weston Workman. Now, we saw Weston yesterday, as I mentioned earlier, continue to get quicker over the course of the race, but again, if the gap is 2 or 3 or 4 seconds, you're going to spend 15 minutes just running him back down. You're not going to take seconds out of his lead. It'll be a tenth here, a tenth there, maybe 2 tenths every now and then. So Weston's really got to get that car chasing Jackson down before too long, and he burns up too much time.
Well, but I will say I had a chance to talk to Weston yesterday on the podium about chasing down Gresham Wagner in that fight that we saw potentially coming together here at this point. And, you know, he told me he likes to save his stuff. That's kind of his MO as a driver. He's going to be a little aggressive at the start, then he'll settle into a rhythm, and then he'll really attack. So I wonder, yes, this is a big gap, but if Weston is maybe thinking, Jackson, go ahead, run your stuff out, maybe burn up a little bit of those Continental tires, and let the race come back to Weston. He needs to keep this gap at about 2.5, though. I think this is the limit of what he wants it to be.
Well, a little bit of a battle deeper in the field with, that's Aiden Kirk in the 47 Tech Sport Racing car. Battle for 19th place with William Lambros in the 77 from Skip Barber Racing School. And just behind them is Miki Onaga in the Hattori Motorsports 75. Debut for Onaga yesterday, had a pretty decent result, and battling for a top 20 again here as Lambros runs a bit wide at the exit of turn 11. While we're on that topic of running a bit wide, for those at home wondering, how are they not getting track limits violations at every single corner? Well, for the most corners here at this racetrack, the outer white line is the track limit, right? The red painted verge, the green painted verge, all fair game. The only exception is in the S's. You have to keep a tire touching the candy stripe curbing as Spike Kohlbecker tries to get back at Workman here for second.
He's going to try to go around the outside. Oh, great defensive move there from Weston Workman, absolutely showing Kohlbecker the outside of the corner, and that carousel does camber away ever so slightly. So if you get onto the outside, you've got to worry about that, as well as the marbles and the clouds that builds up on the outside of the racing surface. So that was a really heads-up defensive play there from Weston Workman, but it's not deterred Spike Kohlbecker, who still remains very, very close here at this point. Big slide, though, for Workman.
Yeah, Weston Workman absolutely pushing. Here's a look at a replay of a moment ago between these two down into turn number 12. Kohlbecker on the attack to the inside, and he just overshoots this just a touch. No, he actually did it all right there. Workman kind of conceded it, and down into turn 1, here they go.
And here he goes, Kohlbecker to the inside of turn 1. Workman not really having any response whatsoever. He did take the corner a little bit wider. That allowed him to carry more speed into turn 2, but Kohlbecker holding the line and keeping it together absolutely beautifully, running a good defensive line, and he's going to keep Workman behind him. And this could, if these two continue to scrap like this, again, bring Jade Avedisian for Nitro Motorsports right into this equation.
Yeah, certainly, and I think they've conceded that Jackson Bell is going to drive away for a while. It's not over yet. We're still not even halfway through this race. It could absolutely come back their direction, especially if Jackson is pushing a bit hard. But the battle is for second place right now, and Jade Avedisian has a trophy on the horizon if she can pass at least one of these cars and climb up onto the podium.
And this would be huge. If she was able to get on the podium, she would be the first female to be on the podium in Toyota GR Cup North America. We've talked so much about Mia Lovell, and Mia has gotten so close, but Jade has it within touching distance.
And great representation in the GR Cup paddock as well. It's awesome to have you know, Jade and Mia and a handful of others here in this field. Of course, you've also got the BSI racing car, Maddie Oust here in the 09. So great representation across the paddock, and Jade is just having a phenomenal race. The speed yesterday probably not working out. She was involved in that collision, I think, partially at turn 12 on the opening lap. Never really got a chance to show us what she had.
No, she really didn't. Is diving down into turn 12 right now. Workman trying to run a little bit wide. Gresham Wagner now working on the back there of Lucas Weisenberg. But, oh, that was a little bit of a look there for Workman coming down into turn 15.
Yeah, I have to wonder if the drivers enjoy battling for second here, knowing that Bell's gone. You have to, I mean, all the sliding around that they're doing, the big overs and unders, these are fun cars to drive. And even though it's not for the top step like they would like to be fighting for, I can't help but think they've got a grin on their face right now sliding these front engine rear drive sports cars around.
Well, you talk to a majority of racing drivers and they'll tell you they want to fight. Yeah, it's great to win by 30 seconds and to have that absolutely locked up, but they want to fight. They want to go wheel to wheel because that's the fun of racing. That's what they absolutely love. But here is Gresham Wagner, been able to get by Stephen Clements. That's that red 76 behind. Up ahead at this point is Lucas Weisenberg. And remember, these two had a great sparring battle last time out in VIR.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And I think that's, you brought up a great point about the drivers really enjoying to fight. Gresham Wagner was on a podcast over the winter talking about, you know, this series and the way that this car races in a pack. You can control your own destiny to a high high degree in this championship. You're not locked to a draft like you are in some other series, which allows you to really display your talent, but also use that draft as a tool. When we went to VIR, it was Lucas Weisenberg and Gresham Wagner sparring for that win. Gresham lost that race, but he had fun. And I think that's a huge part of the enjoyment of this series, not only for spectators, but for the drivers behind the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, you're racing cars. That is inherently fun to do, and I guarantee you Gresham and Lucas have a big smile on their face right now as they come through turn 7. This is sometimes a sneaky overtaking opportunity into 8 and 9, but it doesn't look like Gresham necessarily has it, but gets a great run through turn 9, and especially with Lucas kicking up some dirt there on the exit, he may look for an attack here into turn 11. Gresham looks to the outside as there we take a look at the battle up ahead in turn 11, as that's the battle for P2.
Yeah, Jackson Bell continues to pull away in the Copeland Motorsports 99, but other battles still to kick off in the top 10. And Mia Lovell, another one of those drivers at the tail end of the top 10, she had a bad race yesterday, also sort of involved in that collision. Whoa, big slide there for Jordan Rick-Sagrini. That car looking a bit unruly. Now, we haven't seen this car since it was involved in that collision, but we saw that it was at turn 4, DJ, which is the entrance to the S's. So typically, if you have an incident there, it's two cars kind of fighting for the same space, and there's so much runoff, you could just tap and slide off course and come to a stop. So no major collision there, but enough to send them sliding.
Yeah, enough to send them sliding, and that we should mention that the donut that's on the driver's right of that Jordan Rick-Sagrini car has been there since the beginning of the race, so that is not new damage.
I think it was there yesterday, actually.
I think it was too. Kirk and Rick-Sagrini absolutely going for it. Kyle, one of your favorite things, the mirrors folded up there for Jordan.
Yeah, that tells you that he has been in the side of somebody else. Those mirrors are exactly the same as you have on the stock GR86, and they fold in. And when you have some side-by-side fighting, you can get into the driver next to you, and whoops, they can't see behind themselves anymore, which is always kind of fun. So down into turn 15, the 47 of Kirk crosses over Rick-Sagrini, who turns back underneath him again. Great fight for P20.
Yeah, great fight for P20 in a loitering battle here, just percolating for P2 right now at this point as we watch Spike Kolbecker and Weston Workman, Jade Avedisian hunting behind as well. Devin Anderson leads this next group over Gresham Wagner, as it does look like Lucas Weisenberg has been able to hold out here, or hasn't been able to hold out, rather, and Wagner has been able to get on by him.
Yeah, now into the S's here, line astern behind Devin Anderson. There is Gresham Wagner, and despite that momentary blip with the collision with the 18, Gresham Wagner has gone from dead last, 29th position, up to 6th place in half of the length of this race. Very impressive stuff. You see the windshield wipers on that car, and hearing reports that there was potentially some fluid out there, and as the cars ahead of him are kicking it up, you can see it could get all that dirt and dust sticking on the windshield and making it fairly hard to see.
Yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to see, so maybe preemptive. The other thing is these are pretty much stock cars, so the windshield wipers work exactly as they would in your car at home, and it may be a situation where Gresham was just sawing at the wheel a little bit and flipped the stalk.
We see turn signals come on all the time in the heat of battle because you're just thrashing at the steering wheel, and sometimes you clip some of those very much stock electronics as far as the indicators and things are concerned. Of course, the engine management is handled by a Bosch unit, and you get the advantage of Bosch ABS as well, which contributes to some of the latest braking zones I think I've ever seen in cars like this. They can stand these things up on the nose. They almost topple over nose first into the braking zone sometimes, it feels like, with how hard they can stop these cars.
Yeah, and there's the prime example, the heaviest braking zone on the circuit down into turn 12. You can really see those cars pitch forward, and even coming into that relatively short braking zone of turn 13. Wagner, by the way, able to get the run on Devin Anderson. He's been able to clear on by down into turn 12 right now. So that's going to leave him a little bit up the road to try to catch in, about 5 seconds or so until he gets to the back of Jade Avedisian.
So Wagner up into 5th place, past Devin Anderson. A little bit of a fight again, kicking off for 2nd place with Spike Kolbecker and Weston Workman through the carousel now, the 55, navigating turn 19. Jade Avedisian having a great perspective of this from P4, probably learning a lot behind these other two drivers as they scrap for position. Both of these drivers have been up on the podiums in the past. Of course, Spike Kolbecker has a trio of victories to his name from 2023, so if there's drivers to learn from, it's these two in 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it looks like, as I saw there on the run up to Big Red, Jackson Bell may have a little bit of lap traffic to deal with coming through the S's, as I think that's James Klimas there for Skip Barber Racing School, that he's going to come come up against. But we keep focused here on Weston Workman coming through turn 1 right now. 17 minutes left on the clock. Weston just stalking behind Spike Kohlbecker here at this point. As you said, I think Jackson Bell has scampered off into the distance. They know that. They know this is the battle in front of them.
Yeah, no holds barred at this point. Why not scrap for position? The challenge they have, though, is that they're not in their own little world. They've got Jay Davidizian right behind, and it looks like behind the 34, Braden Arthur, a bit of a battle kicking off. The 11 of Austin Dodge, and here comes another one of the entries, the 40.
That's Aiden Yoder.
Aiden Yoder in the 44.
And remember, I think he may have had to swap chassis.
I was going to say, that card, safety car. Man, and I wonder what that is for. And that could be, we had heard reports that there might have been some fluid down, so that could contribute to it. But you pointed out the 44. Well, we wait for more confirmation on this. 44 switching cars, and it certainly doesn't look the same as it did yesterday, so that's what threw me off there. But Aiden currently 14th, right ahead of Henry Drury for the Precision Racing LA with PT Autosport car. But this changes the dynamic. Well, there's our answer. If you wait long enough, you'll be granted answers to a lot of questions in life, and that one is a stopped car. Is that Aiden Kirk?
That's the number 47 of Aiden Kirk. That's a good call there. Stopped on the exit of turn 11.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and it doesn't look, at least from the rear perspective, that there's a whole lot of damage on the car, so I wonder if that's something mechanical or electrical there for him.
Again, we could be stitching some pieces together as far as reports in the S's, and then the car stopped on the backstretch. So safety car is out now. If we can get back green, this totally changes things up at the front, doesn't it, DJ? Because Jackson Bell had a 5.3-second lead that just got erased.
Yeah, that got erased. I think Jay Davidizian is going to be a little bit worried having Gresham Wagner directly behind her. We talked about that 5-second gap that Gresham was going to have to make up. Now Gresham's going to be able to pounce. He may even be able to get himself out onto the podium before this is said and done. What a remarkable drive that would be.
Yeah, I mean, Gresham Wagner's an impressive driver. Jay Davidizian has had an impressive race. This restart, if we get one, is going to be pretty spicy to watch as well, because there's not going to be that much time left, maybe a handful of minutes, a couple of laps. So it's going to be everybody diving into turn 1. And we look at the layout of Circuit of the Americas, 20 turns, 3.5 miles. It feels like turn 1 is 3,000 feet wide on the entry, and then the racing line is like 6 inches wide at the top of the hill. It's so tight. It's designed to create action. And if we get a restart, it will be very exciting. So Mike Stillwagon is going to pick our field up with the Toyota GR 86 safety car. And we will see how long it will take to get us back underway here at COTA in round number 3 of the championship. There's another car off course. That's the 21. Livio Galante, who had another issue yesterday after having a strong run. So this is a real shame for him.
Yeah, and that car is bolted down into the entrance of pit lane, so that's going to be a little bit easier for them to take care of, and they'll be able to get that car out and on its way relatively earlier. Let's take a look back here and see if we can find what the issue is. That's that 47 for Tech Sport, and it just looks like the car stopped turning.
Ooh. Oh, well, there was definitely some fluid coming out of that car there. Is either fluid or some dirt coming out from under the under tray. But potentially something had gone awry after he had gone off course there, or potentially even before he went off course and caused that slip and slide. But we'll hope that it didn't leave anything that will take a long time to clean up. I hope they can just get that car on a rollback or a tow strap and pull it back to the paddock. Good news is also the back straightaway has a couple cutouts where they can pull it straight back to the paddock, and we should be able to return to racing. Hopefully we will stand by and see what happens. But Jackson Bell, pressure's on now, right? Because your teammate who has dominated the series all season long is now going to restart 5th. You've got an advantage for sure starting up front. You're going to be able to launch first. You're going to be able to drive into turn 1 without anybody ahead of you. How much pressure is on Jackson Bell, who has had a great start to his season, but now there's a trophy on the line, and it's the big one, the number 1 on it.
Yeah, this is going to be big for Jackson. He's really going to have to put on his best driving standards to make sure he is able to get ahead. And let's clarify our restart procedures here at this point, because they do differ from our start procedures. Now, whereas you have to wait to enter into the VP acceleration zone when you go for the green flag at the beginning of the race, the restart zone starts at pit entry. And so from any point from there through the rest of turn 20, the lead driver is able to accelerate away.
Now, the other piece to that is before we saw some drivers get penalties for moving out of their column and trying to make passing attempts before the start line at the end of the front straightaway. On the restarts, you may begin passing when the green flag is displayed, which is before that start line, right? So now we're using the control line and the restart zone, and you can pass as soon as the green is displayed. So that is opportunity for everybody else. Mike Stillwagon has come out on the racetrack. He turned the lights on for a moment, but they're back off, and we will get a restart with just under 12 minutes to go. Jackson Bell, Spike Kohlbecker, Weston Workman, Jade Avedizian, and Gresham Wagner are your top 5. And you wanted to get a tornado of action up here at the front. This is about to get fun.
It's about to be a Texas tornado, I'll tell you that right now. We're going to get restarted here with about 11 minutes to go, I think. And so that's really going to bring the impetus on all of these drivers to put the moves that they can. I'll tell you else this helps. The likes of Onaga, Aust, Rumberg, and Gilliland, those drivers that had the penalty that they had to serve for improper start procedures, had to serve the drive-through, they're going to be able to catch back up here.
And Jordan Rick-Segrini, who got turned around earlier, of course, he will get to have an opportunity to pass some cars here on the restart. But yep, this is going to be fun. A 45-minute race has turned into an 11-minute shootout here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. This is a big weekend for SRO Motorsports America. This is one of the biggest stages these drivers will have all year long as we get ready to go racing again at COTA.
All right, Jackson Bell has control of the field. Remember, is able to start accelerating from about now. There he goes. He did get a little bit of a jump on Kohlbecker, not a whole lot. Look at that, Jade Avedizian already trying to make a move on Weston Workman. She's got to wait until the green flag is displayed to officially make that move. Bell already starting to scamper off into the distance as the green flag flies. And here comes Devin Anderson with a big move.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I was keeping my eye on that 22 and that green flag. I don't know if it made that move before or after. We'll have to see. Big wiggle from Weston Workman on the bumps down to turn 1. They're 3 wide into the corner for about 5th place behind. But look at the 55. Spike Kohlbecker's all over Jackson Bell into turn 2.
And Jade Avedizian doing a good job of holding off Gresham Wagner there. Here comes Kohlbecker looking down to the inside. Now has to go to the outside. I heard a little bit of skittering and scampering behind.
Yeah, as they head into the S's now, I saw a green flag waving as well, which indicates that there potentially was a yellow flag waving at the corner marshal stand before it. But everybody seems to be pointing the right direction now here at the front. Spike Kohlbecker right behind Jackson Bell. Everyone single filing out there. Tight quarters between Braden Arthur and Aiden Yoder.
And I think Gresham Wagner's got some damage on the left front of that car. We'll have to see it as it comes back around, but I think there's a little bit of bodywork damage. Let's take a look. And we've got a car off. That's the number 14 machine of Alex Garcia.
Yeah, that is. Oh, there's 2 cars over there. The other is the 51 of Adam Brickley. So we heard, there's more. The 75, the 3. It's a junkyard out there with cars scattered around. That's Miki Onaga in the 75, and the 3 is Jason Kos. And they will pull away and keep moving. But we continue.
We continue on here for the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another safety car, particularly as a couple of those cars looked like they were beached down into the pit lane. Restart is under review. We've got 3, 4 wide coming down the back straightaway.
And Spike Kohlbecker pops out of line. He wants a lunge at Jackson Bell. Not close enough. Jade Avedizian's in the middle of a sandwich down there at turn 12 with Devin Anderson on the left. And Gresham Wagner goes all the way. It seems like he went to Oklahoma out there. He was so far north.
And Jade's going to hold on to that position. Devin Anderson trying to send it around the outside. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Kohlbecker continuing to poke and prod here on Jackson Bell. Not able to get it done down into turn 14 and 15. And they're going to keep themselves around. Avedizian's trying to be led out on the outside there by Devin Anderson, but she's going to keep her foot in it, and that'll be the preferred line coming through the carousel.
Yeah, if they do throw a safety car for this, gathering positions now is critically important because the more time that ticks away, the less opportunity we would have for a restart. There's the safety car. Jackson Bell leads over Kohlbecker, over Workman, and behind, we'll have to wait and see how they line up because they were side by side about 10 rows after that.
I think Avedizian has P4 there. In terms of Wagner and Anderson, I'm not sure how those two will state themselves out. Don't know if we mentioned it, by the way, but that restart is under review by race control.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on really the mid-pack there. Now, we saw the 24, Jade Avedizian. She got kind of crossed up with Weston Workman, but she realized that she was going too soon, so she tapped the brakes, and it kind of jammed everybody out behind that. We saw the 22 pop out of line, so I wonder if race control will also factor in if there was avoidance going on, maybe not necessarily attempts to pass, but just just trying to avoid from stacking up. But second safety car of this race. The first one was pretty quick, and hopefully the cars in the gravel can get towed out pretty quickly as you see the skid marks, DJ, that you're pointing out.
Yeah, I think that could be exactly what we heard happen. As we said, when they were coming down through this area, we heard some skittering and scampering of the cars, and I think that may be a reason for part of the safety car, as well as those other few cars that we saw scattered around the racing track. So it's Bell, Kohlbecker, Workman, Avedisian, the same as they went in, as well as the first change of position was Devin Anderson. Looks like he is being scored ahead of Gresham Wagner. He was able to take that position back off of the frantic restart.
And that could be, that could be a big swing in the points also for Devin Anderson. The further up you go, the points really start to stack. Position 1, 25 points. Position 2, 18. Position 3, 15. So the closer you get to the front, those points really start to ratchet up. And Jackson Bell is in a position to certainly advance his effort and battle against teammate Weston Workman in the championship hunt. Of course, that's a battle for second, with Gresham claiming all 5 of the first 5 races of the season. But this is race 6, and Gresham Wagner is not leading it with under 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, and this is going to just raise the stress level for all of these drivers. They're going to have to push a little bit more and a little bit harder as they go, because everything is going to be so intense here at this point, with only we're looking at maybe 4 laps or 4 minutes to go when this is gets back to green.
Yeah, that's assuming that we go back green this lap, which I don't know is incredibly likely, mostly because they have 2 cars to dig out of the kitty litter at turn 2. And Adam Brickley was pretty deep in the gravel trap there. The 14 was much closer to the edge of the road, so hopefully he was able to get back rolling. And no, it appears like he's still over there on my screen. So not going to move, unfortunately, without the assistance of a tow truck. But Jackson Bell, let's talk about that driver, the number 99, for a second, DJ. His start to the season has gone very well, but he has been in this championship now for quite some time, as I see Alex Garcia hopping out. Highest of highs and lowest of lows from the TC race now to this, DJ.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a rough pill to swallow for Alex Garcia. Still not exactly sure what happened to him at that point. But, yeah, as we go back to your point on Jackson Bell, we have seen a new Jackson Bell. He was good last year, but he has taken it up another notch this year.
And even with Weston Workman, who has really been the driver that you could probably elect as the one to tackle Gresham Wagner in most of these races, head-to-head, Jackson Bell outdrove Weston Workman for most of this race, extended the gap, and it's only decreased because of the safety cars and full course yellow procedures. So here's a look at a replay here, DJ. Let's see if we can find out what's going on. Down into turn, the 57 got turned, Adam Brickley. The 14 got tagged at the end, trying to go around the 2 Copeland Motorsports cars that were colliding together, and the 14 also has a broken right rear suspension as well. So 2 teammates colliding, and then the 14 being the resultant of that, unfortunately. And then there was more. That was Kos and the Hattori Motorsport 75 coming together a bit later. That's the uphill right-hander at turn 8. So a couple different incidents from tight quarters action here on the restart with only 11 minutes to go. Now we're down to under 5 with the safety car lights still on here at Circuit of the Americas. Jackson Bell continues to lead. Spike Kohlbecker second. Weston Workman in third place. Jade Avedisian, Devin Anderson. And with 4 minutes left, we'll see how urgent the safety car completes this 3.5-mile lap. We could get one more lap, but it is probably just as likely we will not. We'll see what the pace of the pace is here on this pace lap. So down towards turn 2, there's Adam Brickley's car is just on the edge of the gravel trap. They've gotten the 14 pulled away, and that is great news, because as soon as we can get this 51 off the track, we could probably get one more. There's the 14 actually getting hitched onto the rollback, so they're still working there, but they might get it done. And the incident at turn 8 involving Jason Kos is under review. Again, that was the incident with the 75 Hattori Motorsports car of Miki Yanaga. And the car extractions seem like they're making some fairly decent progress. I think that 51 is much closer to the edge of the gravel trap than it was a moment ago, DJ. So we're almost ready, but who knows? With only 3 minutes and 20 seconds left, race control's got a decision to make, and we won't know it until we get to turn 15 or so.
Yeah, we won't. And I wonder if we're going to see a situation where they try to back up the cars or do something of that nature to get everything ready to go here.
They're sending another, in the background there, you see another rollback coming for the 51, which means I thought they were going to flat toe it out of there, but it doesn't look like they were able to. So with 2 minutes and 52 seconds to go, it's probably optimistic to think we'll get a restart, but I like to stay optimistic. We'll see. I've seen these safety crews work pretty quickly here at a track like Circuit of the Americas, a world-class facility. We were talking earlier about this race weekend, DJ, and I've said earlier in the weekend that series like Toyota GR Cup North America, for a lot of teams and drivers, this is the first step on their professional racing career ladder. For others, this is the platform that they choose to race. This is the destination that they're trying to get to. But for both of those kinds of drivers, this is a huge race weekend on a big stage. There's lots of race fans here, lots of prying eyes watching and waiting to see who the next generational talents are in sports car racing. And you look at anybody in the top 15 or 20 of the running order right about now, and you could probably pick out some drivers that you're going to hear about for a very long time.
I'd argue just about every driver in the top 10 here at this point is a driver that you're going to be hearing about for a very, very long time. This is an introductory series into the world of sports car racing, but the talent level here is so extreme. It is so impressive. As we do take a look here on the back straightaway, we saw that car getting pulled onto the rollback here at this point, and I love what race control is doing here, slowing down that safety car, pulling it back as much as possible, trying to give us that time.
Yeah, essentially, if they can buy the safety crew about 1 minute and 25 seconds and we can cross the stripe with 2 seconds left to go, then we could get a one-lap shootout here. We're probably about 50 seconds from the green flag here if we continue at this pace. And if they can get that car on the rollback and drive that thing like they stole it away and off the racetrack, then we'd be in good position to get that one-lap shootout. But again, it's dug itself in pretty deep into the gravel here. So again, if we burn up this minute and we don't get that safety truck cleared, then we will end this race under yellow.
Yeah, 55 seconds left on the clock here. My natural pessimism is starting to come out just a little bit if we're going to get another green flag run here at this point, but we will have to see. Again, Mike Stillwagon slowing the field down here at this point. You saw a big checkup coming into turn 11 from those cars as they got their ways ahead. Everybody just trying to see if they're able to do it. 35 seconds left on the clock as they go. We're really not going to know here at this point until they cross the line.
I don't think that they can turn the lights off at this stage, this late in the lap. So again, they've really tried to slow it down. So now they're just going to burn the last 20 seconds up because I think the cleanup is going to take too long here. But Toyota GR Cup North America, round 3 of the season. Of course, we kicked off the season in Sonoma, then at Sebring, and then here at COTA yesterday. And the common thread was Gresham Wagner winning every single race so far. But DJ, today it's somebody different.
Today it's somebody different. For the first time, the 99 of Jackson Bell will come across the line and take the top step at the podium. It's a victory for Jackson Bell. Second place for Spike Kohlbecker. Third place for Weston Workman. And Jade Avedizian in fourth place.
Yeah, what a great run for the Nitro Motorsports driver. Devin Anderson, his first top 5 here in the series. A spectacular run for that Tech Sport Racing driver. And with his home event coming up here in a couple of months, I think Devin Anderson has got some great momentum to carry in to VIR. Gresham Wagner from the back of the grid to 6th place for the first time this season. He will not win his Toyota GR Cup North America race and not sweep the weekend here. However, 29th to 6th, not all that bad. There's a lot of positives to take away regardless. Lucas Weisenberg, Stephen Clemens, Braden Arthur working their way also inside the top 10. Good runs for them. But this race weekend here at Circuit of the Americas was spectacular. Here's a look at your race results. Jackson Bell, as we pointed out, picking up his first victory in Toyota GR Cup North America. Congratulations to him in Copeland Motorsports. Spike Kohlbecker from Tech Sport Racing in 2nd place. Then Weston Workman from Copeland Motorsports in 3rd in the number 13. Jade Avedizian and Devin Anderson claiming their first ever top 5s in this series. Then it's Gresham Wagner in 6th place. Lucas Weisenberg in 7th place, and Stephen Clemens, Braden Arthur, and Aiden Yoder in the rest of your top 10. Of course, Gresham Wagner is still under review for a collision with the 18, so that is unofficial results there for the number 5 car. In 11th place, it's Henry Drury in the number 88. Nice results there for him. Max Hewitt, 12th, then Casey Mashore, Austin Dodge, and Jordan Rick Segrini rebounding to 15th place. William Lambros, Alfonso Diaz, and Matty Oust, 16th through 18th. Then Luke Luke Rumberg and Andrew Gilliland rounding out your top 20. Of course, some disappointing runs for a couple other drivers down at the bottom of the standings. Of course, some Copeland Motorsports drivers like Mia Lovell, Adam Brickley tangling there at the end. Alex Garcia, Livio Galanti, Aiden Kirk, and James Klemus all with other issues. So it was an interesting race for sure, though, with the penalties in qualifying, as we're going to get a look at the highlights of this great race 2 here at COTA. It all started with a big run up towards turn number 1, 4 and 5 wide on the initial start. Gresham Wagner was not leading, but trying to make up big ground here into the opening corner. A couple of cars clattering together. One car airborne here for a moment as they worked their way through turn number 1, all the way out to the gravel, using all the road through that first frantic opening corner. The battle up front, Spike Kohlbecker and Jackson Bell, the front row drivers, having a bit of a scrap side by side for a few moments, right ahead of Weston Workman. They traded the position a few times as they worked their way through the race. Car number 20, a bit of a slip and slide for Ramon Lanos at turn number 11. He got the ship righted and went on to finish up the order in 22nd place. Then there was a bit of an issue for the 47 of Aiden Kirk, ran a bit wide, and something went amiss on that Tech Sport Racing 47 car and pulled out our first full course yellow of the day. Of course, on a restart, a collision with Copeland Motorsports teammates, tagging the 14 right at the end and sending 2 cars into the gravel trap. Unfortunately, it ended the race for the 51 and the 14, and they spent the rest of the race in the gravel trap trackside. A little further up the road, there was a collision between the 3 of Jason Kosa and the 75 Hattori Motorsports car of Miki Onaga. They looped around, and the collision at turn 8 involving that car 3 and 75 is still under review. But at the end, Jackson Bell in the number 99 Copeland Motorsports car takes victory here at COTA for the first time in his career. Well, what a race that was, and unfortunately, the full course yellow ending put a bit of a damper on the last lap battle that we could have seen between Bell and Kohlbecker, but it is setting up quite the fight after SRO's summer break. We head to Virginia International Raceway that put on a spectacular show in 2023. It was Gresham Wagner and Lucas Weisenberg that fought it there last year, but with all the momentum we've seen out of Tech Sport Racing as they head into their home event, I think you have to circle the 55 and the 22 as favorites, as well as the newfound winner, Jackson Bell in the 99, coming in on a high after claiming a victory here in race number 2 at Circuit of the Americas. Fans looking down from the observation tower here at Circuit of the Americas, they got one of the best perspectives of all, watching all the racing around this 3.5-mile racetrack. And we mentioned the big stage that it's on for Jackson Bell, continuing his racing career in Toyota GR Cup North America in a big way. And he'll be down to talk to Amanda in a few moments, as Spike Kohlbecker and Weston Workman are also on the podium. They're heading for celebrations, and for the first time, Jackson Bell is going to take home with him a first-place trophy. Earlier this year at Sonoma, he picked up his first podium, which he earned without having anybody get DQ'd in front of him like he did last year. And so his trophy shelf is growing quite a ways. And star power coming to light here in the Lone Star State this weekend as Jackson Bell coming to the attention of his crew. And this will be big celebrations here for the team and the driver. It is a hot day out there as Jackson climbs out of the car. Big hugs from the team. And while Gresham Wagner was not able to repeat another weekend sweep here, the victory still lands in the Copeland Motorsports camp, and this time with young Jackson Bell. The Brawnability car, the blue, orange, and white colors in the victory circle area. The helmet comes off, and a very excited Jackson Bell will talk to Amanda.
And Kyle, his team was here to greet him as you see that Continental Cup go around the necks of Jackson Bell for the first time here in the GR Cup. But Jackson, this has been on the backside of some work that you've already done this season. 4 times in a row now you will stand on the podium and now on that top step. You and Spike are going back and forth with each other. What was the key to victory today for you?
I think just consistency. Struggled with that yesterday in race 1. And was pretty bummed about how I finished that race. I kind of fell off halfway through. So I went back and looked at some teammates' data and figured out where I can improve. And, yeah, just really tried to be consistent. And then there with the restart at the end, just wanted to make sure I didn't make any mistakes and bring her home in one piece.
It was just a matter of time before you're going to see that checkered flag here in this CZ. How nice is it to get that monkey off your back?
It feels good. It feels like a big weight lifted off my shoulders, and hopefully this is the first of many more. So I think this gives us good momentum going into a bit of a break in the summer, and then hopefully come back and have another strong result at VIR.
Nice job, Jackson. We'll see you in Virginia.
Thank you.
Jackson Bell taking his first victory in Toyota GR Cup North America. He mentioned the bit of a summer break we have until the racing at Virginia International Raceway in July. The first 3 rounds of 7 for Toyota GR Cup North America are complete, but it has been a phenomenal weekend, a hot weekend for sure. Some of the hardest racing these drivers have ever done because of the temperatures inside the car. Jackson Bell had done a phenomenal job, picks up a victory, but next up on the calendar, after a couple of months of waiting, we get to go to heaven on earth, as Paul Newman called it, Virginia International Raceway for round 4 of Toyota GR Cup North America.